So it's really hard to maintain a balance. But then yesterday, for example, I'll do things like, so I gave him his phone back, by the way. I thanked him for being so honest, and I truly believed him. I gave him his phone back. And I said, no games. So what he did is, because he didn't trust himself, he deleted all of his games off his phone so that he wouldn't play on his phone.
Welcome to the Business of Parenting podcast. Tune in as we discuss the principles of successful parenting as a business professional. Here's your host, Jason Harris.
I was just recently in a restaurant and just kind of looking around, and like I said, about 60% of the kids were staring at a device like this, and probably a very similar number of adults were doing the exact same thing. So that's kind of our first topic, is like parenting with distractions. I mean, we're just in a society now that we're just being hit from every single place. I mean, business is like, I just think even like my business itself, right? This is not a 9-to-5 thing. Business is going on all the time, so it's like you have distractions from there, then you have distractions from social media. But I just love to kind of get your take of how do we kind of maintain, I guess, a linear, like just kind of flow of parenting.
I'll give you two examples. So my son disrespected me a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. And I took away, and this is my 11-year-old's lifeline, right? So I took away his phone. I took away his computer, so he can't play games, can't do anything. Plus he has to do all the dishes, take out the garbage, all the things. He couldn't even watch TV, right? Like, he disrespected me to no end. And so I take that away. And then he learned his lesson, at least I'd like to think. But then he messages me about a week before I'm coming to do my parenting time with them. It's my time with the kids. And he says, "Mommy, I promise I learned my lesson, but I really would like to have my phone back. I don't need to play video games. I don't even need to watch TV. But the only way I can communicate with my friends and have social life is through my phone." And I'm thinking to myself, wow, it's so true. Like, when I was a kid, I went outside and played with my friends, right? Like, I just went down the street, knocked on the door, and if someone was home, that's what I did. Nowadays, kids, they need that device. They need to, that's a social arm for them. That's their arm to the social world. Exactly. So it's really hard to maintain a balance. But then yesterday, for example, I'll do things like, so I gave him his phone back, by the way. I thanked him for being so honest, and I truly believed him. I gave him his phone back. And I said, no games. So what he did is, because he didn't trust himself, he deleted all of his games off his phone so that he wouldn't play on his phone. But yesterday my girls and I went to watch him play hockey, and I said, no phones. I'm like, let's just go enjoy your brother. You don't need your phone. And so I work to try to balance it a little bit with the knowledge that it is their lifeline, right? It's really hard because we don't understand it. We didn't grow up that way, but it is their lifeline. So I hate using the word balance because it doesn't exist. And I'm totally guilty of those screens being a babysitter too, right? Like, I mean, I don't want any parent here thinking, yeah, right, she seems perfect, because that's another thing we were talking about. So listen, I'm not perfect at all when it comes to parenting. I mean, I definitely not. But I do try to pick the appropriate moments to allow them to have that social arm, and then bring them back in so they can realize what is really important, and watching him play and supporting him is far more important than texting your friend or Snapchatting or whatever the heck they do now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Business of Parenting podcast with your host, Jason Harris. Don't want to miss new content? Be sure to check out the full podcast library at strategywithjason.com to stay in the know. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy podcasting.